Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. I've gotten a couple requests over the past week or so to make a new video about the Seahawks' current salary cap situation after the draft, after all the dust is cleared on the decisions the team has made in terms of bringing in UDFAs and camp invites too, all that kind of stuff. People want to know where we stand. So I decided to put together a comprehensive list of all of our salary cap commitments for 2023 from the ground up. We're not going to use the SPO track or over the cap numbers to arrive at any overall conclusions. We're going to use their numbers to build a chart, but we're not going to use their summation. We're not going to use their conclusion. We're going to try to get to our own conclusion from scratch, basically. So I've got a sheet here. I've got a Google sheet here with a collection of salaries and a collection of players that I believe we will have salary committed to for 2023. So first of all, before we dig in, what I'm about to show is contingent on the roster shaping up the way that I currently expect. And the way I currently expect the roster to shake out is on the screen right now. This collection of 53 players and 16 practice squatters. So if I'm wrong, then obviously things change a little bit. And there are many opportunities for me to miss by a little bit here. There's Landers. There's no guarantee that Landers makes the roster as a receiver. There's no guarantee of it at all. He's a UDFA rookie who I like the talent, but there's a reason why he went undrafted. We could easily decide, hey, we like what we got with Cade Johnson a little bit more because he actually did some stuff for us last year. I also swapped out Randolph for Greg Island. I decided to make Greg Island the backup left tackle for the moment because he's been around long enough to where we probably feel a little more comfortable with him. And I decided to throw him in there as the backup left guard, even though he's technically a tackle. I think he can do left guard stuff fine. But that could easily not be the case. The defensive line, plenty of opportunities for me to miss here. I have Tavai and Cooper making the team. I don't think there's any guarantee of that. I got Alton Robinson making the team instead of Tyreek Smith. That could easily be flipped. There are a few other things that could happen as well. We could end up cutting Stoll, our long snapper, and bring in a veteran. All possible. But these are the guesses that I'm going with. And by the way, for those curious, I did swap out Jarek Reed for Joey Blunt. I've been talked into it, basically. Okay, so anyway, assuming that this is how the roster breaks out, 53 players and 16 practice squatters, this is how the cap breaks out. So I decided to list each individual player one by one rather than using the summation on, like I said, SPO over the cap, so we could actually kind of get there from scratch. Now, I separated it out by position, not that there's any particular meaning to that. It just kind of shows where we're spending our money. Now, a couple of notes. There are a bunch of rookies on this list. You know, Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh, Jackson Smith, Najigba, Landers. Plenty of rookies all over this team. Right now, the only rookie that we have that has a contract and a cap hit in 2023 that we know about for sure is McIntosh. McIntosh actually signed his rookie deal like 2 days ago, and we know his exact cap hit because it was reported. It's $773,705. All the other numbers associated with rookies, like this for Charbonnet, this for Najigba, are projections. Now, the projections tend to be very, very accurate, so I'm not worried about like SPO or over the cap getting those numbers wrong. If they are wrong, they're off by like a few $1,000s. It doesn't matter at all. So just know that the numbers that you see for the rookies are projected. But if they're off by such small amounts, it doesn't really matter that much. But anyway, you can see that we're spending about $14 million on quarterbacks. We're very frugal at running back, which is nice. That's a position that we've taken care of very well without spending a ton of money. We're spending a lot of money at wide receiver, at least at the top end. Metcalf and Lockett, $30 million plus almost. Spending quite a bit of money at tight end as well. The offensive line, however, is very cheap. And when I say cheap this time, I don't mean as in like bad, as in like we didn't spend any money on it and therefore it's bad. No, we didn't spend very much money on it because we've got a bunch of rookies and we've got a bunch of players who are probably being paid below their level of ability. So doing pretty good here. Phil Haynes making $4 million feels a little weird when he's the weak link of our offensive line probably, but whatever. Defensive end, you can see that after Draymond Jones, things drop off a cliff, and we've got some very cheap guys on that defensive line. Nose tackle, we're basically we're spending about as little as we could at nose tackle. By the way, you will notice that there are going to be some players here that are listed with a $750,000. These are UDFAs. $750,000 is the base, and if I couldn't find them getting any kind of a signing bonus, I'm just going to put $750,000. And if they did get a signing bonus, we'll probably figure that out later. But that's everything. So you get down to the bottom here, and the 53-man, the 53 players who I believe will make our 53-man roster account for almost $200 million. $199,546,228 against the cap for these 53 players. So far so good. However, we don't really know what's going on with Brian Monet and Jordan Brooks right now. If they miss the whole season, do we get any kind of a break on their salary? How does that work? Does it roll over to the next year? I don't know how it works. I don't know exactly what would happen to the cap hit of Monet and Brooks if they don't play in 2023, but I separated them out. I do suspect we probably would have to. I mean, they got hurt playing football. It's not like they got hurt at home. They didn't get hurt playing pickup basketball. They got hurt in NFL games. So I would assume we still have to pay them, but I didn't want to list them out separately just in case. And by the way, there's still a distinct possibility, I guess, that one or both of these guys ends up being able to play even in week 1 of 2023, even though, again, I'm really not counting on it. And that would knock out somebody like a V. Jones or a V. Jones or a Robert Cooper, and that would actually clear a little bit of cap on the other side. So when you get to the 53 plus the injured players, you get to just over $207 million. Then you have dead cap. So I have $17,643,753 in dead cap from guys like Chris Carson, Shelby Harris, Quentin Jefferson, those guys. And then I'm adding a little bit of dead cap from 3 guys who I believe will get released. Now, I could easily be wrong about these 3, but I have Tyreek Smith getting released, Joey Blunt getting released, and Dwayne Eskridge getting released. That would accrue a little more than $1 million, like 1.1 million dead extra. And that would get us up to 220, just shy of 226 million. So your 53-man roster plus the 2 injured players plus your dead cap from releases and old contracts, 226 million, let's call it. And then you have to pay your practice squad. So $3.5 million roughly. It would probably actually be a little bit less because most of my practice squad is made up of young players who haven't been in the NFL very much. Like, the guy on our practice squad who has the most experience in the NFL is like Tyler Mabry, and he's got like 1 accrued season. So not really worried about that. Should be a relatively cheap practice squad, $3.5 million. That gets us up to just shy of 230 million. And after the cap rollover, you get negative 7.2 million. So basically, as near as I can tell, when I try to build the whole list out from scratch, when I try to really just start at the basics, just try to build everything up player by player, as near as I can tell, when this is done, when we're done signing all of our rookies, and we're done signing all of our practice squatters, and we clear out the guys who we are not going to have on our 53-man roster, and we don't have to worry about paying their base salary because it wasn't guaranteed, we end up at about $7.25 million over. That's over, by the way. So we've got work to do here. And there's not a whole lot you can do at this point. A lot of people said, hey, we need to trade down in the draft so we can reduce our rookie salary hit by however much we trade down. Like if we traded down from 5 to 11, that would have done a lot to lessen the cap hit from that rookie. But we didn't do that, and it's too late to do anything about that now. The rookie contracts are pretty much slotted. You can't change them. You can't really do anything about them. It just is what it is. So at this point, we have only a few options to clear cap space. And again, you can't be over the cap in the NFL. You can't. It's not like baseball where there's a soft cap. No, you cannot be over. So the options are, I mean, they're the obvious big ones, right? Like you can restructure Lockett and free up close to $6 million. You could, instead of carrying Alton Robinson, you could carry Tyreek Smith. You would actually save a significant amount of money if you cut Alton and kept Tyreek Smith instead. I know that sounds a little bit surprising. It's like, less than $1 million still, but it's close to $1 million, and that's going to add up quickly when you're trying to do this. You could, just as an example, just let Mike Jackson go. Now that you've got Witherspoon, maybe you decide, oh, okay, we don't need Mike Jackson anymore. We're going to let him go, or we're going to trade him for like a 5th-round pick or something. You can do stuff like that. You could make a surprise trade of somebody like a Kobe Bryant, I guess, although the bonus money you'd have to pay from that is going to wipe out a decent chunk of your savings. You could, I guess, do something with Nwosu, be it a trade or a cut. You could, there are things that you can do, but there isn't a heck of a lot left that you can do at this point. Obviously, we're going to have to do something, and I'm kind of interested to see what it is. But you do the math. I did everything I could to build things up from the very bottom level to try to really understand where we sit. And I still get to just shy of $7.25 million over. Got to do something about it, Pete and John. What are you going to do? I'm kind of interested to see it. All right, guys. See y'all later. Go Hawks. Be on Twitch later today.